Our newsmaker of the day, Ted Cruz. He's talking President Trump and COVID-19 and what it might mean for the Supreme Court nomination battle ahead, because that could be collateral damage. Senator Ted Cruz, great to have you with us. Thanks for joining me. I really appreciate it.
David, it's great to be with you. Thanks for having me.
Well, how did you hear the big news, first of all, obviously with President Trump and COVID-19? How did you hear, and what's your reaction to it, sir?
You know, I heard when everyone else did when the news broke. I saw it on my cell phone. It's obviously concerning. Heidi and I, our prayers are with the president, with the First Lady, that they recover. I guess the news has reported the president has mild symptoms. I hope that he recovers quickly. We need him strong and strong and ready, and I hope that he gets better quickly.
Senator, are there certain questions and answers that you want in your mind in terms of what happens now? I mean, I guess we just wait to see how the symptoms progress for the president, but there are, people already talking about the 25th Amendment and what road we might have to go down there. What's your sense from a constitutional perspective about where we are right now?
I think all of that is wildly premature. I mean, look, the Democrats and the media have been speculating about the 25th Amendment since Inauguration Day, and they've been eager at every moment to invoke the 25th Amendment, President Trump, and they want him not to be president. Mm-hmm. At this point, with mild symptoms, it's not remotely a concern. Look, any time you have a president, if someone gets seriously ill, that's something that can happen to any human being, and if that situation develops, we'll deal with it then. But at this point, the president is under medical care. The First Lady is under medical care. They're, as I understand it, in quarantine and taking reasonable precautions. And hopefully it does not develop seriously. This is a disease we've seen that has wildly different impacts on different people. For some people, it has very, very serious health implications. For other people, the symptoms are quite mild. And so I hope the president and First Lady fall into the latter category.
To talk about the Supreme Court nomination situation, do you see this potentially being affected at all? Because, with contact tracing and the fact that Amy Coney Barrett was with the president, then with some senators, yourself included, I mean, how is this going to work exactly? Do you see complications at all as it relates to the Senate Judiciary hearing coming up?
I don't believe there will be. The Judiciary Committee has the capacity, and we've been doing this for some time now, to do either in-person hearings, remote hearings, or some hybrid of the two. We do hearings every week where some senators are participating via remote conversation and some are in person. With Judge Barrett, so I met with her this week, and actually when all the senators met with her, we met in a very socially distanced, safe environment. They did it in a very different circumstance than is typical. Usually with a Supreme Court nominee, that nominee will come to each senator's office, and so in the course of a week or two, they'll come to all 100 senators typically. Mm-hmm. This time, many Democrats are refusing even to talk to her. But rather than having her come to each senator's office, what we did instead is she went to the Capitol, went to a room called the Mansfield Room, where the majority typically has lunch, and we met there in a socially distanced way where the chairs were about 8 feet apart.
Well, Senator, you know the criticisms are going to come the president's way. As you might imagine, Democrats and liberals in the media are already getting on his case for, the masks and the social distance and the big rallies without anybody wearing masks. I mean, what's the reaction to some of the pushback that this president and writ large, maybe some conservatives are going to get for kind of making it a Wild West scenario? That's the way they see it. And they say, well, look, the president got it and he wasn't responsible.
Well, it's not surprising that you're seeing Democrats in the media being mean-spirited and wishing hateful things on the president. The reality is the president and the White House, that there are rigid protocols in place. So anytime you meet with the president, they require you to take a COVID test. So if you go to a White House meeting, you have to take a COVID test. Everyone surrounding the president is taking COVID tests. I recall a few weeks back, I flew with the president to Midland, Texas, on Air Force One, and everyone going on Air Force One, you had to go to the White House at 7 a.m. And get a COVID test that day. And actually, one of the people who was flying with us was Congressman Louis Gohmert, and Louis came to the White House. He was tested. He tested positive. So they said, "You're not getting on the plane."
Right.
And Louis went. Thankfully, Louis is better and is doing fine now. But there are very significant health protocols in place around the president. But that being said, this is an infectious disease, and it's impossible to drop to zero the risk of transmission.
Senator Ted Cruz, thanks for all of the time on a very busy Friday. I appreciate it.
Good to talk.